You're listening to Steven Strom on TalkNorth.com.
All right, welcome in here to the Strom Sports Show. A little spicing up to the show. We're going to go over our playoff predictions. But my guy, Jack Karowski. Jack, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. He is a film major at Penn State. Big film guy. We'll break down the movies because I am so lost with it, and I want to be informed. I mean, I'm trying to become more accustomed to the movies. I want to start seeing more movies. You know, I think it's good to be a little cultured in this area. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over his playoff predictions. We're going to go over playoff teams, what he thinks is overrated, and we're going to compare them to movies. Okay, a little different. I think that's good, Jack.
Yeah, it's a nice twist.
First time on camera, or have you been?
I have
done with
made
the film?
appearances on camera before on shows, but this is my first time on the Strom Sports Show on camera.
There you go.
It's an honor.
First for everything. So let's begin with a few teams. We'll start in the AFC. Okay, we're not going. We'll just go by the projected seeds right now. We know that some things could change. But let's start with the Chiefs, okay? Number 1 seed, 11-4. They've had an unbelievable year with Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, the whole nine. Your movie comparison.
Right. Okay, so you look at the Chiefs. They started off really strong. They're going. They start off like 5-0. They lose to the Patriots, but they don't really skip a beat there. They keep on going. So the movie I kind of immediately think of is First Man, about Neil Armstrong. Same writer and director, or same director as La La Land and Whiplash. Two excellent films. But we look at starring Ryan Gosling, Claire Foy. But we look at that movie where it really started off strong. The hype was, really, anticipated for it. I loved the movie. That was my favorite movie of the year so far to this point that I've seen so far. But it hasn't done well at the box office at all. And they think there's a couple points leading to why, but possibly because the whole political thing with, they didn't show them planting the flag on the moon and all that stuff. So that kind of pissed some people off.
That drew away an audience.
But exactly, they drew
away. The Kareem Hunt suspending could draw away. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
But yeah, that was. But I like First Man. I love First Man. I like the Chiefs. They still got a high power offense. Their defense obviously not great, not good at all. But I do think that they can get it done. Much like I think First Man can really. If they can pick up some steam, you can see them winning a couple of awards this season.
All right. So, do you recommend the movie?
Oh, absolutely. This is my favorite movie of the year so far that I've seen so far. And I think it's a great movie, if not even from a technical aspect, but the writing's great. Just great acting as a whole, and the direction from Damien Chazelle was awesome.
When did this come out?
This came out in October. If we'll talk about another movie, A Star Is Born later on, but it came out that same weekend. I'm pretty sure, within a week or two of each other. So that really shows. A Star Is Born. I think it's still in theaters, but First Man was in theaters for maybe a month, maybe. I think it just got over that $100 million hump at the box office, which, with that type of movie, with the cast of Gosling, Claire Foy, you really want more bang for your buck and return on the $60 million budget that it had. So
kid is sharp, very sharp. Good start here for Jackson and the Chiefs. Your overall feeling for the football team, you said it, they started off 5-0. They've lost to the big teams. I've told you that. New England, Seattle, the Rams, the Chargers. What is your feel with the Chiefs going into the playoffs? Do you like them to get to the AFC Championship and win that divisional round? What do you think about the Chiefs this year?
I won't be surprised at all. They are the number 1 seed,
right?
And it's not by accident. They've certainly showed that they can play with the big boys, but at the same time, they haven't necessarily gotten it done with them. But they've shown, Patrick Mahomes shows that he's a mobile quarterback. He's able to get the job done in the late fourth quarter, like he did against the Ravens. My Ravens, obviously, that 4th and 9 prayer.
Yep.
That shouldn't have happened, but I like the team a lot, and I would not be surprised if you see them, on Super Bowl Sunday.
All right, next one here. Let's go with the Chargers. Everyone loves the Chargers. Phil Rivers. Matt came on and said that this guy's the MVP. They're 11-4. They're the number 5 seed, which is ridiculous. I think the NHL and the NFL need to reseed because if you're 11-4, you do not deserve to be a 5 seed. You deserve to be a 2 seed. But the New England Patriots are at 10-5. Give me your feel, your comparison to the Chargers, who is everyone's jumping on their bandwagon, Jackson.
Yeah, I like them. And so the movie I compare it to is actually a movie I have not seen yet, but I will obviously see it, pretty soon. It's called Black Panther. This obviously is made pretty sure over $1 billion
Yeah.
at the box
Yeah,
office.
it's been big.
I'm actually not sure how. I've not seen it yet. But at the same time, when you think of Black Panther and the attention it's getting right now, not only in the box office, but with award season. Now, you usually see these teams or these movies, these Marvel superhero movies, not get the attention with award season. But the thing with how they're related to the Chargers is they're a newcomer to award season, much like the Chargers are a newcomer to the playoffs. The Chargers haven't been able to get it done in the past, just like these superhero movies haven't been able to get it done to get invited to the Oscars, the Golden Globes, all that kind of stuff. But Black Panther picked up a Best Picture nom at the Golden Globes, which are not far from now, and it will get nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. I'm pretty sure about that. But now with the Chargers, how that relates over there, like I said, they're both newcomers to the situation, and like you've mentioned before, I don't like how the Chargers, they're 11-4, easily one of the best teams in the AFC
in the NFL.
In the NFL, exactly, and they're going to be on the road for their first playoff game. I don't like that at all, even though my Ravens just beat up on them. But
huge win going into
we
LA.
Looked good there, but. Apparently the Chargers play better on the road, so I am actually curious to see how they'll be able to, Phillip Rivers will be able to, use this experience and all that kind of stuff to really, get it done on the road in the playoffs.
And he hasn't been the most successful playoff guy. We know that he has that label of being a choker.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll see how he does. Chargers, what do your overall feel? Do they get past the divisional round? Do they beat your Ravens?
Honestly,
say they get in.
I don't. If it's in Baltimore, if they do end up playing the Ravens like they are right now, assuming the Ravens win on Sunday against the Browns and get in, I honestly, and this is not just bias, I think the Ravens are kind of on a roll right now.
Okay.
And having just beat the Chargers, they can expand upon that, really improve on that performance. And we talk about the quarterback situation with the Ravens and how Lamar Jackson. He's not been great. Don't get me wrong with that, but he's shown some promise, and with every week going forward, he's only going to get better. So I think dissecting that defense, he had like a 65-yard touchdown and all that kind of stuff, and the Ravens defense just I think might be too much.
Phenomenal. The defense is phenomenal. I think that the Ravens, you try to find a formula in the NFL to win, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the Ravens found that. They know that Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball necessarily great down the field, but they know they're going to run the ball. Lamar's going to run the ball. They're going to play great defense, keep it low scoring, and that's their formula winning. And that's what every team needs to have. I think the Ravens have that. I would say watch out for them. I think it's a different team with Lamar Jackson and with Joe Flacco. Mobility now is huge. Yep. I mean, you see it with Mahomes, you see it with Watson. The traditional quarterback, the Kirk Cousins, the Goffs, they're not. Goff had a great year. Don't get me wrong. But you need to be able to escape out of the pocket. I like what the Ravens have. So we will take a quick break. We'll get back to a few more teams, and we'll compare them to movies coming up next year on the Strom Sports Show.
So when you look at the Saints, they're 13-2. They really haven't skipped a beat all season long. They've been solid, and they've been the front runner the entire season.
Yep.
Now, when you look at movies in this regard, both at the box office and award season, there's one in particular that's been breaking the bank and everything, and that's A Star Is Born. Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga starring in that, and Bradley Cooper's directorial debut, which is just incredible to even think that this is his first movie directing. But the way that these two movies, or this movie and The Saints are related, and the fact that, right now A Star Is Born is the favorite to win the Oscar for Best Picture and take home a bunch of awards, for Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper acting, all that kind of stuff. And since it came out in October, like we mentioned before, with First Man, it's I think easily made over $300 million at the box office, which is obviously unreal for Warner Brothers, the studio, and really everyone involved. And you also mentioned that the Saints, you think that they've possibly peaked.
I do.
And people can argue that A Star Is Born has also peaked.
Wow.
Because the thing that happens right now is A Star Is Born comes out in October. A lot of people see it. A lot of people love it. And that raises the hype for it. So when people are starting to see it right now, it's not living up to the expectation of, it's the best musical I've ever seen in my life. It's not living up to that expectation. It's a phenomenal film, no doubt. But in that regard, I think you can compare them to the Saints in that way. And also, just kind of going back to the first point of how, A Star Is Born and the Saints, they're both the favorites right now.
Yes, yep, 100%. And was that your favorite movie of the year this year, or was it First Man?
I would have to go with First Man right now.
Okay.
I think A Star Is Born definitely cracks the top 5, but I know as of right now, First Man's got the top spot.
Does Does Star is Born win that Oscar?
As of right now, I think it does. I don't see a real threat to winning right now, but now we're just getting into the award shows where, a week from now we'll have the Globes to see who wins there.
Yep.
Because we really haven't seen any precursors of, who's going to win there and all that kind of stuff. So it's important to keep your eye out for all the Guild Awards and stuff like that to see who wins.
Do the Saints, I'm kind of getting the sense we were comparing Best Picture as an Oscar to the Super Bowl. Do the Saints get to the Super Bowl and win?
I don't think so, honestly. I think they've got to be looked at as the favorite. I don't doubt that at all. But I think if you see one of these teams possibly, you could see the Chargers making a run. It's all about making a run in the playoffs and how they finish their season.
Yep.
And you can see it with the Vikings. If the Vikings are able to beat the Bears on Sunday, who knows?
Man.
They just beat the Lions. They're on a roll. Mm-hmm. You don't know what can happen. I don't think that getting down to it, the Saints defensively can possibly, keep up with, even if the Chiefs make it with that offense and stuff like that. So we'll have to see.
Definitely can make the case for that. Another thing about the Vikings, which, you've heard it 100 times, against the Saints, right? They were up 13-10 in the red zone, and Adam Thielen fumbles. It completely changed the game, and then the pick six with Kirk Cousins, that was the game the Vikings easily could have won. Mm-hmm. The Vikings easily could have beat the Rams. There is the whole Viking season, if they don't make the playoffs, is what if. Because they have stayed in every single game with these guys. So it's very frustrating as a Viking fan. You just want to get in at this point.
Yep.
Rams. LA Rams, Sean McVay, Jared Goff, Todd Gurley. This team offensively is stacked. Defensively, it's been a struggle. They look great on paper, and Ndamukong Suh, Marcus Peters. Give me your movie comparison for the LA Rams.
Exactly, and what you've just mentioned, it looks great on paper. Is a movie I just saw recently called Vice. It looked great on paper. It was still a good film, don't get me wrong, but much like the Rams, I think it was a little overrated. The movie was a little messy, much like the Rams are right now. There was a bunch of storylines going through. Still incredible performances, Christian Bale as Dick Cheney, much like Todd Gurley as a running back. He's been great all year long. He's been undoubtedly, I think, the best running back in the NFL.
Yes.
But now you look at Vice. While I do believe it's overrated, I won't be surprised if you see Christian Bale, on the stage at the Oscars accepting, for Best Actor, much like I wouldn't be totally surprised if you see the Rams winning the NFC Championship, even the Super Bowl. I would be maybe a little surprised if they would be in the Super Bowl and win it, but I definitely would not be surprised if they get there. So for Vice, that's the one I'd go with.
Now, you saw Vice yesterday.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
Would you like? Give me a grade.
Grade, I would go with B+.
Okay.
B+. The acting was phenomenal. Not a false note anywhere that I noticed at all. I think it was just kind of playing around with too many eggs in one basket. I think it, much like the writer-director, he had The Big Short, where he really made it an initiative to explain to the audience what was going on in the financial crisis.
Okay.
There was an attempt here with Vice. I just don't think that I really followed it too much, but nonetheless,
hard to follow then.
Exactly.
Hard to follow. Okay, now Vice, would you recommend it to a person like myself, Jackson?
Yes, I think it does teach you a lot about the political, where we are even today, even though it takes place, up until the 60s until now. It tells the story of Dick Cheney. But I do think it is very knowledgeable, and it does teach you a lot.
Every year it seems like they prove us wrong. Is this year different for the 10-5 Patriots for you, Jackson?
You can never count out the Patriots as much as you want to. You can never, as long as Brady and Belichick are still there.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can write them off at all, even if they're in the wild card weekend, which it looks like they won't be. But basically, the movie that I would go with there is called Green Book. It came out just before Thanksgiving. Really good movie, my second favorite of the year, starring Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali. Tells the story of, in the 1960s, an Italian driver, was tasked with taking a African-American musician down on tour in the South. You can see how problems arise there. Mm-hmm. But basically how it compares with the Patriots is that it was a really solid movie, much like the Patriots are really solid. You can never count them out, just like you can never count out this type of story where, it's like kind of like that racially insensitive, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You can just never count it out.
Great job, Jackson. Great having you on. We just
for
compared the AFC, NFC playoff pictures to movies. Get educated, people. The movies are still important, okay? It's not all about the Netflix. Go out to your theaters. Yeah. Aren't you a member, like a StubHub member or whatever?
Exactly, yes.
What is that?
A-list stubs.
A-list stubs,
A-list,
okay?
A-list
Big
only.
deal.
Big deal.
Big deal. All right, we'll talk to you next week here on the Strom Sports Show.